Hello, everyone. I'm Des with Pretty Girls Media, and I'm sitting with a very special man, also a veteran. So, really quick before we get into our interview, I kind of was harassing them. I think the first night I met them,
That's one word
and
for it,
then,
I guess.
I figured out I'm like they're veterans. I'm a veteran. Like we just have to stick together. But I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. We're going to talk about this amazing football league that he is a part of, and that he is really like anchoring. It is the USA Wheelchair Football League. I think it's phenomenal. I'm going to get me to some games. But without further ado, take it away.
First of all, hello to you, Des, and the other pretty girls out there. Thank you for having me on your show. My name is Timothy Brown. I am a marketing and communications specialist with Move United. And this league that she's talking about, this cool opportunity, it's called the USA Wheelchair Football League. It's a first of its kind program that we put on by Move United. First started, I think the official day was 2020, but our first tournament was September-ish 2021 in Phoenix, and it is a wheelchair version of football. Um,
So cool.
the league is put on in partnership or in large part due to a sponsorship from the Bob Woodruff Foundation in partnership with the Salute to Service grant that the NFL puts out. So it's been going on for now 5 years. We've grown to 15 teams around the country. All but two of them are affiliated with one of the NFL teams. So we have the LA Rams wheelchair football team. We have the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Tampa Bucks. We have a couple other teams that aren't affiliated. We have the Irving Outlaws, and then, of course, we have the Birmingham Hammers. There's no NFL team in Birmingham, so they run their own program. They just happen to be sponsored by Lakeshore Foundation, which is one of the biggest and most well-run adaptive sports programs in this country. It's a Paralympic training site there in Birmingham, so we naturally wanted to let them in, and they do a great job with it. And if you're asking what the hell is wheelchair football, it's football played in wheelchairs. The rules are largely similar. They wear helmets with team logos on them. They got jerseys. A little more pass heavy because, as you can imagine, it's a little difficult to rush in a chair. There's no real, you can't run up the middle in a chair because it's easy to block you. But you will see, an occasional jet sweep or something like that. But largely, a whole lot of air in the ball out, a whole lot of air raid offenses, and definitely big hits because it wouldn't be football without big hits. And these guys are not afraid to smash the ever living crap out of each other in their chairs. Um, it's especially on kickoff returns. Yeah, they get a head of steam
Yeah.
going. They're going like 15 plus miles an hour by the time they hit each other. Like those are some real hits.
Yeah, I see some
And
clips and I was like, whoa,
oh
okay.
yeah, and if speaking of clips, if y'all are interested, I actually you can listen to yours personally or yours truly live stream a couple of games from our previous season.
Okay.
I live streamed the championship game of the Tampa tournament, and then also the league championship game. If you want to watch those and kind of get a better feel for what wheelchair football is, search Move United on YouTube and go check our live streams. You'll find them, right there under our list of lives. You can watch it, listen to the game, be annoyed by my voice, whatever you want to do. But I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it if you watch those.
Yeah, I'm going to add some clips to the end of this. So if you stay tuned, you will see some clips just so you know, and I'll add the website and all that so you can actually know where to go. But before all of that, what was the motivation or the reason behind starting this league?
The motivation, it's pretty much the same as any adaptive sport. It's why not? We want to play sports. Football is the most popular sport in the United States and wasn't represented before this. You had some similar sports, or if you wanted some contact, you could play wheelchair rugby or sled hockey or something like that. But they're not quite the same.
Yeah.
And people want to play football. They want to wear the helmet with the logo on it, and and feel and look and play like real football players. It just the impetus wasn't there around the country to make a full nationwide league. There were smaller kind of one-off local groups that would maybe put a couple teams together or something, but nothing like the full league that we have now. And people wanted to play it. We had some sponsors, the Bob Woodruff Foundation and the NFL, that wanted to make it happen. So we came together and brought those two groups of people together, and now we have a bustling league. I think we've had over 1,000 players in the history of the league so
Wow.
far.
Okay.
I'm hoping that's number right. That number is right. Carolyn gave me some talking points. Hopefully, I didn't screw it up.
It's the estimated
But
number. Estimated.
we'll double check those numbers for you and get them back to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, just like any other adaptive sport, we want to play sport. We shouldn't have to explain why we want to play sport any more than you shouldn't have to ask Tom Brady why he likes football. We just like playing sports.
Yeah, I understand that. I agree. I just know I've seen again smaller games before, and I'm like, oh, this seems really cool. But I never knew that it was a league. So I just was wondering, like, okay, like sometimes when people say, "Oh yeah, we just were playing in our backyard," and then suddenly this thing just popped off. So that's the reason why I was just asking, like, the motivation behind starting the league there. And I think it's really awesome that it has grown so much within the span of you guys just being here. Uh, what would be, like if you had dream level, what would it be like the next level? Would it be to have maybe 32 teams? Would it be to have international teams? Like just dreaming big.
My big dream, I think, for the USA Wheelchair Football League, one would be to have every existing NFL team have a wheelchair football team affiliated with them. But beyond that, because that's cool, but there's a whole lot of places that aren't represented. What about San Antonio? What about Oklahoma City? What about Portland? What about all these other areas that maybe don't have an NFL team but still have a bunch of disabled people that want to play wheelchair football? And I'd like to see them grow, similar to what we do with Lakeshore, where they still field a team, they still get out there, and that would be my dream for these teams to be available everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's no cases of like, hey, this guy really wants to play. I really want to play, but the nearest team is like 1,000 miles
That
away.
was like 500 miles away. Like this is
that's not super
unrealistic.
helpful because it's not just about the tournaments. That's what we see. That's the product, the end product we put out. But what so many adaptive athletes really look for, really need is the weekly practices, the regularity of something that they can get out of the dang house on a regular basis, hang out with their friends, play some sports, do other things that you do with friend groups, whatever you do with them.
Yeah.
And that constant exposure to sport is the real difference maker. And I want to see that available to, at first, every disabled person in America, and then as Pinky would say, the world or the brain.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, I can imagine like it expanding like over 100 teams. Like as you said, there's so many other cities, and I feel like there's so many people that would want to be a part. They just have to know about it. They just have to get it out there and then just do it.
Yeah.
So for those who may be wondering like, oh, I want to do it, but maybe I'm not, or I'm not fully disabled, or I don't have a wheelchair. Are they able to participate still, or how could they contribute to what you all do?
Yeah, the USA Wheelchair Football League actually has a pretty wide range of classifications.
Okay.
And for those not familiar with adaptive sports or para sports competitions, we have classifications where we, usually with team sports, we'll give you a point value based on the level of function you have remaining. Because obviously, somebody who's missing, say, one leg below the knee is going to have a different level of function than some person has no limbs or is a quadriplegic or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's max point value on the field, but there is a specific classification for people whose disabilities may be slight physically anyway, or who are able-bodied. We have a point value for that. Don't remember the value off the top of my head. I think it's 4, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But we have a class for them because in a lot of ways, sometimes it can be difficult to get enough adaptive athletes in one place to make a team.
Yeah.
And if it takes, that means some able-bodied folks want to jump in that chair and do it. Awesome. That means the sport can happen for the rest of us. And as far as, if you don't have a chair, most of the chairs that people use are, pretty standard adaptive sports chairs, basketball chairs. There are some specialized football chairs that are kind of based off the rugby league designs. You don't necessarily need them. They're just sturdier and will last longer over time. And you can find those chairs at any of the the member organizations that sponsor these teams. So all of our teams are tied to one of our member organizations, be it Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, Chicago, Midwest Adaptive in Kansas City, Rise Adaptive in Dallas, Angel City Sports in LA, so on and so forth. These teams and those programs usually have a closet full of just random chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are like, some guy, had a chair, then he got a new one after a few years, and
Mm-hmm.
they
It's
didn't
like
know what to do with the
donate
old one.
it.
Yeah, you just leave it in the closet, and somebody else can come out and use it, and they'll have stuff like that. So you can at least get in a chair, even if it's old and rickety. Hey, you can at least get in and do something, and that's a great way to start. And then you can get out there and play.
I'm not going to hold you too much longer, but you mentioned to me that there are other adaptive sports. So could you give me an example of a few other ones? Because maybe I mean I know you said girls play too, so we can get into
Mm-hmm.
that as well. But maybe there's a girl out there who maybe doesn't want to play football. Maybe she
Mm-hmm.
wants to play like volleyball. Is that
Mm-hmm.
available? So just and even some guys, I do have some males that watch as
Mm-hmm.
well. So these other sports they may also be interested in, and how can they find that
Mm-hmm.
information?
Yeah, basically the simplest way to put it is if a sport exists, it's been adapted. And in some cases where a sport didn't exist, we invented them.
Mhm.
That's the case with sports like goalball, which specifically caters to the blind population. If they want to play volleyball, sitting volleyball exists. It's really popular among the amputee population. You literally just sit on the floor and play volleyball that way.
Oh, sounds so
Um,
relaxing.
it is. It depends on who you're playing.
Yeah.
I happen to work with a woman named Carrie Miller Ortiz. She's our director of people and culture at Move United. Lives just down the road from me in Houston. She's a multi-time Paralympian at sitting volleyball.
Wow.
As She has some medals. I'm not going to misquote and like short around some medals. I think
Yeah.
she has
Yeah.
at least a silver and a bronze. So I'll just stop there. But then there's other sports. I'm active in hand cycling, and I currently play wheelchair rugby down in Houston. Rugby is another one of these pretty much psychotic full contact,
Yeah. Go hard.
wheelchair
Go hard
sports.
sports.
Yeah, you play that if you want to go hard, but that's one of the sports that's co-ed.
Okay.
So women and men play together on teams. Women get a point deduction, either 0.5 points or 1 point off of their classification, depending on what their classification is.
Okay.
So it actually becomes strategically advantageous to have a woman on your team, because you're like, hey, maybe she can do the things that a 3.0 can do, but she's costing us 2 points on the lineup. That means that gives us options for other
Yeah.
things. So it's definitely strategically good for teams to look into that. A lot of other sports, there's a ton of individual sports: tennis, track and field, swimming, air rifle, all of these things where you compete solo. They have men's and women's uh, disciplines. All of these things are out there, and the simple way is, if you're interested in anything I'm saying and you want to learn more about it, you can go to moveunitedsport.org. We have browse our website. We have a way where you can just look up sports. What are the adaptive sports? What do they have available?
Okay.
And my personal favorite part of that webpage is our locations tab, where you can bring up a map or a list, depending on what works for you, and it will show you all of our member organizations around the country. So you're in Dallas, or you're in LA, or you're in Reno. You can say, hey, what's around me? Like, what are the groups that do this stuff? Go search our map, and in Reno or LA or Dallas or New York or whatever, find our member organization there, and they're usually the ones that offer the on the ground the sports. You just give them a call and say, hey, I want to participate in these programs. That's exactly how I got into wheelchair rugby. I moved
Okay.
from DC back to Houston. I was having a hard time keeping up with hand cycling in Houston. It's not really a cycling city like DC is.
No,
So
it's not.
I was getting down. I was like, I need something. So I picked up on my phone and I rang Houston Parks and Rec. They have an adaptive gym down there. I said, hey, what do you guys got? I need something. And they listed out the sports, and I said, hey, let me try this wheelchair rugby thing. And that was 5 years ago, and I'm still with it now, playing with a team that ranks second in USWRA. So I think we're off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, I love that. Any last words that you want to say, or maybe something I forgot to ask, or something you want to just add before we wrap this up?
I would say to all our, adaptive athletes, potential adaptive athletes, thank you for doing what you do and continuing with us. If you're a potential adaptive athlete, don't get intimidated by the word athlete. An athlete at its core is somebody who pursues personal improvement through sport. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not Paralympics or bust out there.
Mhm.
It's not I gotta compete at the highest level and deal with hyper aggressive assholes or something.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. Like it could be there are club sports. There are a lot of sports, track, running, triathlon, cycling, things like that. You can do without competing, and get in there, find your community. Most importantly, you're looking for people like you, people who understand, people who you can really connect with. Sports is probably the best way to find yourself a community as a disabled person.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and talking with me. I do wish you luck. I can't wait to come down. I may have to come down to Houston and see
Absolutely,
your
we are ready
rugby.
to have you, and I will introduce you to Carrie. I'm sure she would love to meet you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for watching so much. He has to go now. He's gonna leave me, but it's okay. Make sure you're locking in on all social media platforms at PG Love Sports, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Yeah, baby.